can you find a retreat that is all about you really living your best life? Join us at the Move Retreat, May 31st through June 2nd in the beautiful Jacksonville, Florida. There will be fun activities such as a fascinating Queen's Breakfast, a Vision Board slumber party, and Self-Awareness Day with a special group therapy session. It is all about you, Queen, for 2019. Secure your spot today at bit.ly/Move Retreat.
Welcome to the Define You Radio podcast, where class is always in session. Get ready for the life lessons, tips, and stories to help you define your life. And now, your host, the drill sergeant with love, Valencia Griffin-Wallace.
Hey, kings and queens, and welcome to the 2019 edition of Define You Radio. In today's show, we discuss what we learned from 2018, our fasting, and 2019 goals. Pens and papers ready? Class is now in session. Today's session, we will be reintroducing ourselves. It is a new year, 2019. It's no new year, new me thing going on. It's same me. I'm just going to reintroduce myself, and the queens will as well. I'm your host, Valencia Griffin-Wallace. Let's go ahead and welcome the hot seat queens to the show, Miss Lyvonne Copland and Shannon Ward. Yay!
Hello, everybody.
Well, queens, before we get into quote-unquote reintroducing ourselves, how was your weekend, your time off from the show? How was all that, Queen Shannon?
In one word, peaceful.
Really?
I did. I took a lot of time to do some necessary fasting, praying, meditating, reflecting, and found myself crying quite a few times as I reflected over the year of 2018, and then, giving thanks for what's to come in 2019. So it was really peaceful. It was purging, so to speak. There was some purging, and it was very peaceful.
Interesting. We're definitely going to get into, hopefully if we have enough time, get into fasting. And Queen Lyvonne, how was your time off from the show?
Much like Shannon, very much needed, very restful, very peaceful. Also, that time of reflection, it was needed because I hadn't done that in a long time, so very much needed.
So basically, y'all saying doing the show is not peaceful? I have questions.
Not the show.
Right, the show had nothing to do with the peace.
No. It was just that time you had, to press in. That's what I consider my time. It's time to press in.
Right. Absolutely.
Picture my face right now. Just picture my face. I specifically said time off from the show. I think we're going into 2019 where my feelings hurt a little bit.
Well, we were so happy to have time off. That's all we heard. We were taking time off in June.
Okay. We had right, time off from work, time off from everything. You see, I took time off even from social media. I was just off everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As long as that hum come out loud and clear. So I know we're having a good time because we know each other, but we probably have some new listeners, and it's 2019, so I think it's the perfect time for us to reintroduce who we are and what we do. So if Queen Lyvonne, if you want to kick off and just tell the audience, not us, because I know you, and Queen Shannon knows you, but tell the audience about you, what you do, and how they can connect with you as well.
Well, I am Lyvonne Copland, and I am the creator and founder of the I Am Selfish movement. I am an author, I am a speaker, I'm a teacher, and I am a certified life coach. I'm just all things selfish. It narrows down to just all things selfish. I want to see men and women, and living their best life, not running on empty. Of course, I'm available to follow on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Everything is easy because it's just my name, Lyvonne Copland. On my website also is www.lyvonnecopland.com.
Queen Shannon, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself as well?
Well, I am Shannon Shadon Ward, award-winning singer, best-selling author, health and fitness enthusiast, founder, and I'm going to steal this from Lyvonne, creator of the Fly movement, which Fly standing for finally loving yourself. And it's a movement where we encompass the whole self. So there's also Fly Fitness with it as well, where we totally take on the whole aspect of health and wellness. And not just a weight loss aspect, but understanding the mindset. I'm also a speaker as well as celebrity interviewer, co-host to Define You Radio, whoop, whoop, as well as host of Fly Conversations with Shadon. So, and I got some other stuff coming up, but I can't tell you about that. What I'm getting ready to be certified in. Ha ha! Valencia didn't know that. But yeah, so she's gonna kill me for that. But that's who I am, and my whole purpose, everything is around building the whole man. You're mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, making sure that we're touching every aspect of that. And in all honesty, spirituality first, because once you get the spirit, because you are spirit first, living and having a natural experience. So if you get spirit right, everything else can flow the way it should go. So that's who I am. That's my focus, and that's what I do.
She is also
Lord
car police and Queen of Wakanda.
That's what I was waiting for.
I'm telling you, you knew it was coming. You knew it was coming.
I should have known, but you told me. The rest of 2018, it's 2019 now. We should not be talking about that anymore.
Did I say that on the show? Like, where's the evidence that I said that?
Let me go find the show.
I'm just saying. Y'all would have to go back into one of the other shows around the end of October about the whole Queen of Wakanda stuff. But I am Valencia Griffin-Wallace, the host. I am a 5-time best-selling author. Writing is definitely my passion. I'm a businesswoman. I'm no nonsense, unapologetic, and all of the above. Define You is what I am all about. And when I say define you, it's all about goals and confidence and pushing queens to the next level, whether they want to or not. Hashtag amen.
Amen.
I believe in putting the power back in empowerment, and whether you got to be nice or not so nice to get it done.
Okay.
Drill sergeant.
That's just a little bit about me. You could also find out more about me at ValenciaGWallace.com. And now my weekend, because this weekend past, I went on a spiritual retreat. Now, we are recording this show in January, so I just came off, and I don't know any other words for it besides that, because it was definitely a spiritual experience, and it was great, and I feel more directed, in which, of course, we're going to kind of get into talking about that tonight. Leaving out of Dallas, because the retreat was in Dallas, I got to go to the Potter's house. And for y'all that don't know, this is T.D. Jakes' church. And when I tell you, it was a whole different experience versus watching him on YouTube or other videos. Like, he, to me, and I hate to say it like that, but honestly, to me, he really is larger than life. Like, you felt from when you stepped on the property, he must have prayed over all of that property.
Oh, wow.
Because you felt it. Like, you didn't feel like you were a stranger coming in a place or anything like that. It was true. And if Dallas wasn't so far, I would go every Sunday to his church. So it was very, very interesting, a very because it was the first Sunday in January. So my expectations were high, and I believe in you must expect in order to get, and I expected a whole lot, and I got a whole lot more out of this weekend. And I'm back with the boom shakalaka and a bang. So,
and a bang.
And a bang. So now that we have reintroduced ourselves, so to speak, but that's what tonight's show is about, or today, depending on when you're listening. So we're going to dive right into what did you learn from 2018, Queen Lyvonne, the nice and the nasty?
Wow. That's good, because 2019 was truly a learning year for me. I would say 2018 taught me many lessons, good and bad, and some of them you had to receive at the same time. I learned, one of the biggest things I would say I would learn is that you have to take people at face value. That will probably be the biggest. And you could take it as good or bad, because I began to see some people for who they really are. You know, I learned in 2018 that everyone that is rooting for you, that say they are rooting for you, isn't always rooting for you. You know, they may say that, you know, I support you, I'm here for you. But when you need that support, when you need them to be there, they're not there. I learned the value that even those people that are supporting you don't always have to be in your immediate circle. They may not always be family members. You know, don't have that expectation that your family is going to support you in everything that you do, because some of my biggest supporters came from women that I had connected with that we were miles, hundreds of miles away, and they showed up and represented more than some people that were next door. It kind of led me to a statement, and I would say my statement that summed it all up was that your true tribe, your true supporters, those people that truly support you and have your back, they are going to be those people that will sacrifice for you, and they will show up.
Thank you, Queen Lyvonne. I take that as a compliment, or take it that you was talking about me and Queen Shannon. I was like, oh, she's so eloquent with her words. I feel so special. I'm just saying.
You all are in that number.
Lord have mercy.
Queen Shannon, what did you learn from 2018?
Let's see. The good that I've learned from 2018. I've learned I think one of the best parts that I've learned was that there really truly are genuine people that God will place in your life when you aligned.
True.
And I mean, we you know, people say it all the time, but it's something when you actually encounter them, when you actually are surrounded by these people, when you meet people that uplift you, when you meet people that you can feed off of and they feed off you, you know, you kind of push each other, you help each other grow. And it really brings everything into perspective. It gives you a drive and a hunger for wanting more of that and wanting that all the time. So for me, I think that was the biggest thing, because this year for me was really about those connections that I made, the people that I've encountered, the people I've met, whether by face or just through the internet or whatever. That was for me one of the most important and biggest things. Not so good things I've learned. I'll tell you this, I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned that it's okay and it's downright necessary to pull away. You have to do that. And I learned from my big queen sister, Drill Sergeant Valencia, that sometimes you just cut people off without giving them an explanation. And that's okay. It's okay. I mean, you know, I started, but you know, there are a lot of lessons I've learned, a lot of heartbreak I've endured. It's a lot of changes that took place, but to be honest, I wouldn't change any of it for anything, because I've come to a place to where I understand that I'm more than just a queen. I understand that I'm a goddess, and I'm a goddess because there's no way I could be a child of God and not have some God in me. There's no way possible. And living from that God place is what I've come to understand. I'm living from a God place. And when you don't live from that God place, all those things that happen, they affect you. But throughout the year, it took a lot of things for me to grow to get to understanding the God in you has never been harmed, can never be harmed, and nothing can ever happen to it. So I had to understand, for me, the essence of who I am could never be harmed, will never be harmed, and nothing's going to happen to it because it comes from the Almighty Source. So I took everything that I've learned, everything I've endured to get me to that place. So, I mean, to be honest, I have to say 2018 was really a birthing year for me. It birthed a lot of gifts in me. It birthed books in me. It birthed, expanding the fitness piece. It birthed more music in me. Although, I have to say that I'm still working through that, being a perfectionist. And if it doesn't sound right, you won't hear it. But it's birthed more music in me. It's birthed me coming out of my comfort zone in music or in different places. So 2018 was really a year, honestly, of great birth for me. I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about the God in me and the God connections and the God in other people that I can recognize and that it's okay to attach to, that it's okay to grow with. So that was 2018 for me.
#Amen.
Amen.
I think what I learned most in 2018 is that everybody's work ethic is not like mine. I'm real talk, and that's a hard lesson to learn and I do things different, and I had to really, sometimes that's overwhelming, but I feel like this year, 2018, was a year of me learning my level of excellence. So I think I pushed me too hard to make up for the deficiency in others. And this goes both personally and professionally. And what I realize about me is that I have to really focus on doing me and really go back to cutting people off, because I cut some people off and I let some people stay. But a lot of people don't know, like you on what they do at jobs, you on a probation period, but not a probation. Not a probation period. That's when you're going to get a job. But when you on your last few legs.
Oh, yeah, probationary.
Probationary, yeah.
A lot of people on probation, not just people, but things, are on probation just because I wore myself out so much in 2018, giving so much more of me without getting back. And I did get some back. I could say that definitely you queens have poured into me in different ways, more than you could know or we have time to express on the show. Just know I love y'all.
Love you too.
I always say about sowing into concrete. So I got to be mindful where I put seeds. And I posted a quote, I think it was yesterday, about knowing who's put people in their category, know who's feeding the soil, and know who's picking the fruit. And some people, want to pick your fruit and run, but if you're going to pick my fruit, at least go ahead and take the seed out the fruit and plant it back so I can have something back.
Leave something.
And then there's people that want to plant their plant, so to speak, next to your tree, next to what you're growing, just enough to benefit from the fertile soil that you're in. That's a whole other show.
I know.
Preach.
I'm telling you. Let me start. Don't let me start, because C.D. Jakes was saying all David had was a rock and a rhythm. I got rocks and I got enough rhythm.
I know that's right.
Just saying, that was a good message. But that's what I've learned. And before we kind of start talking about our 2019 stuff, all of us did a fast of some sort, ending out or either kicking off 2019. Queen Shannon, so tell us a little bit about your fast and what did you come out of it with, if that's something for you to share.
So I did 7 days, the last 3 of the end of 2018, the first 4 of 2019. I mean, we've had this conversation, but for the listeners, of course, 3 represents death, burial, and resurrection, and 4 represents birth. So the focus was to pretty much to kill out all that needed to be killed out, get rid of the things in me spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally that I needed to purge of, that didn't need to go over into 2019. And then of course with the 4, taking those 4 days to pretty much go through to be reborn again. So I had to die to be reborn, my whole Phoenix stage, if you will, put it that way. And I mean, I no internet, well, I mean, not internet, but we'll say no social media, no unnecessary conversations. Certain people just, if it's not something that I need to talk about, I'm not going to do it. No television, just pretty much if it wasn't work or business, there really was nothing else to discuss. There was none of that. And I just pretty much, every morning I would get up, I would pray, meditate, I would do my fasting, and even put the fasting from the internet stuff, there were still certain times of day I would eat once a day. And that was usually maybe about 5 o'clock in the evening, and then that was it till 5 o'clock the next evening. And just continuously doing that. I can't share everything because some of it was really extremely personal. I will say this, because we believe in being transparent on this show. For me, there was I learned that I am a healer. I have the ability, I have the desire, I have the gift that God blessed me with to be able to help heal things in other people. But the one thing that was tripping me up at points is because I would become too attached to the person and forgetting the job, forgetting what I was there to do. So God had to kind of snap me back and say, okay, here's the situation. Take yourself out, because what you want has nothing to do with what I have you placed there for. What you're looking for has nothing to do with helping them get to this next part in their life. You're here for this purpose. I got what you want, but do the job that you're there for, and then we'll focus on that. So, and that, I had to understand, to separate myself from, to understand that where in my spirit, I have to allow the spirit to always go first, and to allow the spirit to always guide what's happening. And as soon as I feel that it might come on the natural side, I have to take myself back and get back to pray, meditate real quick, because, instead of becoming attached to the person, just be there for the job that you need to be there for. So that was one of the big things that I got out of my, my fasting. So in 2019, it started, my God, has it started, but I believe I've been doing really good by not allowing myself to get attached, by just being there to be the heal, to pray for them, to do what I need to do with them, to keep them encouraged, to keep them uplifted, to help guide them into a better direction than what they're going, to not allow them to stew and fester in whatever's happening, but let's find an alternative to what's going on. So,
long as I ain't the job.
No, you're definitely not the job. My queen sisters are not the job.
Look, I have, me, I have questions. And I ain't scared to ask them live on the show.
We know. We know.
Yeah.
I love that, and we are definitely looking forward to a bigger, badder, bolder, Queen Shannon in 2019. Just saying,
Yes.
as long as you always remember, though, you are the little sister. Don't
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Y'all won't let me forget.
Okay, we just have to let it be known the the hierarchy of ages.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Queen Lyvonne, tell us a little bit about your fast.
Okay, so my fast kicked off the new year, and I'm actually still in the midst of mine because it has been very eye-opening, and God, as he's been showing me and revealing to me, is letting me know that I need to dig deeper, that there's still more. So I've actually added to it that I'm going to actually go to the 21st. I've done the social media aspect, cutting back and actually fasting off from that. One of the biggest things for me was, like Shannon said, she's the one that wants to be the helper and to heal. I'm the one that people want to come to and share and give and want you to give them information and wants to just pour their hearts out to you. And I realized that I was becoming this vessel that I was almost, for the lack of better words, I would say almost like a junkyard. People just coming and dumping their junk. And so I had to shut that down. I actually, had to have conversations. It's almost like I'm not accepting new friends or friend requests. I'm not accepting those type of relationships. I hate to say, I don't want it to sound like I'm not accepting prayer requests, but I am being more discerning, because not everyone that comes to you that says, I have a prayer request, is actually coming, because sometimes people will come under the guise of it's a gossip confession. It's not a prayer request, but it's let me fill you in. So I just had to be more discerning in who I allow to plant, as you said, in my garden, in my fertile soil, because as I said, from my 2018, I learned that not everyone that says one thing is going to do or follow through with what they say. They come through and end up being totally trying to steal your shade from your shade tree.
Okay.
They see you blooming and blossoming and they want to get in your shade.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was muted.
But it's just, so that's for me, that was the main thing, is that I wanted to make myself acceptable and open to receive from God. And I knew in order to do that, I had to clear out other people's junk. So that is what my purging has been about, is clearing out other people's junk and being able to, cut those relationships, cut ties, and be okay with it, and
Absolutely.
really be okay with it and not let it take me down. And on the second phase, on yesterday started the next phase. So I'm adding more of what I'm eating. It's just about intentionality. I want to be intentional with God. I want to have genuine, making those sacrifices that are truly sacrifices, for me, so that I'm offering him, me, humbled, and wanting to actually receive everything that he has.
#Amen.
Amen.
Well, on January 1st, I started the Daniel fast. And what's crazy is because I've never been called to fast, not like this. The most I've done was like, okay, God, we're going to do a sun up to sundown. I'm going to not do this or something of that nature. But I felt called for several reasons. I felt that I needed to detox, because between July 31st of 2017, my grandmother passed. August 1st of 2018, my father-in-law passed. And so I never got a chance to slow down enough, because I still had to go. You know what I'm saying? I still had to move. I still had to do whatever. And I just really needed to just get everything out of me, so to speak, to just kind of detox. I could come back better and more directed. So I believe I was called to fast and something deep. And so the Daniel fast, I was like, 21 days, Lord, no chicken? Jesus.
Jesus have mercy.
You know, and if you know anything about the Daniel fast, you know, you're praying, it's nothing but water and 100% fruit juice, the one I'm doing, apple juice, which I still cut it with water because I'm not used to drinking apple juice. I haven't had any coffee. Crazy thing is none. No coffee, no B12s, and y'all know I operate on those things.
And people are still alive around you?
People are surviving around me.
I said coffee is from the ground.
So, you know, with the Daniel fast, it's all, you know, fruits and vegetables. I don't know that I ever voluntarily ate this many vegetables in my life or fruit. But I'm getting creative. I discovered quinoa, even though it's spelled quinoa, because I was saying quinoa for the longest until I Googled it. And I was like, oh, that's quinoa. Sounds kind of bougie. But I am, so I started on the 1st, so it'll end on the 21st. I am learning a lot. It's, you know, I'm more directed, and then I see that all the things I thought I needed to function, I didn't need. So I've actually been going to bed at 9, 10. I've been getting up at 5 o'clock, 5:30 every morning. No alarm clock most days. And I just feel like I'm really more focused, and I'm definitely looking forward to be even more focused. I feel spiritually stronger. Yeah, but I thought the coffee was going to do me in, because of course if you used to drinking 2-3 cups of coffee every day and you go to not having none, you get headaches.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I did have to pop a ibuprofen a couple of times because it'd be right in the middle of my forehead, and that's where anger starts. In the middle of my forehead. Even the dogs was getting it. I was like, go outside, making Benji take naps. I told my husband, I was like, he too active. He needs to go take a nap. I put his little pillow, put his blanket. Good night. So, but yeah, it's interesting. But I know, like I need it. Like I feel new every day. And I'm still learning. This is like I said, the first time, because I was like, why no meat? Meat come, you know, they had animals back then. Mm-hmm. I've been also reading the book of Daniel and those things, but the whole point of my fast is to be spiritually stronger and more in tune with, like Queen Shannon. I think Queen Shannon said, my spirit man, or my spirit woman, you know, and the purpose for my life, because I can't be out here willy-nilly. I'll be 42 next month. Yeah. I ain't got willy-nilly time.
I know that's right.
So excited about that. So when y'all think about your word, your theme, or your focus for 2019, what is that? What does that look like? Or, you know, what's your word or theme, Queen Lyvonne?
Well, for me, I have chosen 2 words to be my theme for 2019, and that's move and spillover.
All right.
And it is spillover. Actually, I got that in September. My sister preached her initial sermon, and when I told you that word, it's like it did something transforming to me. It was just a transformational word, but it just woke up something in me to help me understand that I can't wait until, you know, I couldn't wait to 2019 for 2019 to get here to start doing what I wanted, for things to start manifesting, that it was going to require me to do some things in 2018. that I started implementing, and that I wanted those things. If I did what I was supposed to, they would spill over and set the foundation for my 2019. And so for 2019, I've said that's my same mindset, is that God, one of the things God was telling me is that I have to move, because there is so much that he is requiring of me that I hadn't been doing, that I hadn't been saying, where I hadn't been showing up. And he was like, I'm sorry, it's just time for you to move. You know, and he talks to me, you know, like, little girl, you got to get a move on. It's time for you to move. And so I said I had to take what was in me, what he had given me, and those things, and begin to plant those seeds so that they will spill over. Because what I'm doing now isn't even for 2019, but it's the setup for my 2020, my 2022. Okay. You know, it's that setup for that. And so I was like, so that was my 2 words. And my my statement has been that with order comes abundance. And that is just that serve as a reminder to me that when I'm obedient, when I'm doing things that are in order and in line with God, that he's going to make the provisions. He's going to send the overflow. He's going to send the abundance. He's going to begin to open the windows, and those blessings are going to begin to flow, that not just meet me at my point of need, but that are going to overtake me and help me move into that 2020 and that 2022 and so forth, so that I can be what he has ordained for me to be, you know, that divine predestined that he has already created for me, not just for me, but for my kids and for my children's children, so that I can be a legacy builder.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Queen Shannon. Queen Shannon.
Well, my word, one word would be aggression. I've, like I said, I've done a lot of reflecting, and one thing that hit me was that while I have an aggressive personality in some areas, in other areas, I can be very passive. And I'll tell you one of the things, and you were talking to TD Jakes earlier, one of the things that I watched one of his videos on YouTube, and he was talking about the things you're going to need in 2019. And one of the things he said was balance. And he said, he was saying that your life, that things are not the way they should because you have not found balance. You haven't balanced out your life the way it should be. There are some situations you're willing to address, and then some you won't. You need to be able to address them all. You need to be able to touch on every aspect of your life, not shy away from some because you just don't want to bother with it. No, you have to balance and touch everything. And in those certain areas where I'm a little shy, a little passive, and it might be hard to believe. However,
no comment.
However, it was made plain to me that everything that I'm intended to do and everything I'm intended to have, I have to aggressively pursue it. I wasn't given an aggressive personality just because I should have one, just because, okay, let's just pass out aggressive personalities. We'll give her this and she'll use it. No. That aggression is what's going to help get me to the next level. That aggression is what helps me to help heal other people. That aggression is what helps me to not back down from what I know should happen and what needs to happen. And that aggression is what helps me stand boldly on my truths, what helps me stand boldly in what I know to be real and what I know to be right, regardless of whether it goes against the grain of what everybody else may say. You know, it hit me like you know, there are a lot of things you might look at and everybody's saying the same thing, but you know this to be the opposite. Although you got 20 over there, your aggression is going to have to stand and say, no, that's not it. That's not quite right. Here's what's right. So God kind of revealed to me, you have to, that I gave you that aggression for a reason. And it's time to apply it to every area, not just certain areas where you're comfortable with it and where you're okay with it, but every area. And balance yourself out to be aggressive, because the only way, and I love that the fact that Lyvonne brought up abundance, because that was the other point to it. The only way to get abundance is to aggressively pursue it. So in pursuing everything, abundance is the outcome of it all. I have to be aggressive throughout 2019 going forward to make sure that, as Lyvonne said, my 2020, my 2022, 2024, whatever it is, however long God gives me, I need to make sure that I'm aggressive in every aspect of my life to make sure that it goes the way that it was written out for my life to be. That's my word.
Like they say, bring that same energy. They say it in a different context, but don't just be aggressive over here. Bring that same energy to every earth.
Absolutely.
My word, and I said it, I want to say the end of last year or whatever, I said it is the year of intention. And that's everything. I'm not going to do something that doesn't make sense. And I have to kind of bring back the old Valencia to the new Valencia to make a new Valencia gumbo for 2019, because it is requiring a different level of focus, a different level of me. So definitely intention. I'm looking at not only, being intentional with what I do, but in my connections. But when people come into my life, I'm going to ask them, like, what is your intention? Why are you here, Ike? Why are you here? Like, if you come in just to be friends and be cool, there's an application process.
Yes.
Designed for everybody. If you come in to do business, if you come in, like why are you here? Like, you got to have a why, because if you don't have a why to be in my life, a part of something I'm doing, then please move for somebody that do.
That's a man right there.
Baby. All I could say. People got pens and papers should have been ready. And two words that were added to me after this weekend was to refocus and reposition. And I see where that comes into play, definitely with my intention and being intentional. So that's all I gotta say. Then I'll be 42 next month. And I keep throwing that out there so y'all know I do take Cash App and PayPal.
We know.
But it's like when I look at I made it so many more years over my mom, and I made it just the things that I've done already. And I asked myself, because I always said, certain things have been almost accident. And I just kind of rolled into certain things and rolled into whatever, and so now I have to make sure everything has an intention. There has to be a why behind it. Otherwise, I could be doing other stuff, even with my fast, even with, going live or doing the show, like what's the intention? What's the purpose? And so I really see pruning going on constantly, not just things outside of me, but things in me. Now, I'm not going to say after this fast, I'm not going to pick up a cup of coffee. I'm going to start slow.
But,
yeah, you're going to have to start.
But you never know, because
you just dive back in there.
I know. I may try. We're going to see how disobedient I am with the stuff, because I know they say when you break a fast, you got to do it slow, but
absolutely.
My nature. Y'all can amen all y'all want. I just don't know how it's going to roll, because I might have a B12 and a coffee at the same time.
All right.
I almost took B12 because I'm like, that's nature. That's natural.
Well, find a natural food to get it from. You need me to look it up. I got my herbal book right next to me.
I don't want no herbs. I have enough herbs. But I've been doing good though, and I'm surprised, and it kind of brings me to this whole mindset thing. The one thing all of us want to help people with, the whole purpose of the show, is help people know that it's a way to do everything. And you could not have told me a month ago that I would be able to make it a day without a B12 or coffee. Like, you couldn't have told me that, but I was more determined for the outcome of the fast than the income of my wants.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hashtag amen.
Amen.
So
that makes the difference, though. Like you said, the why. It goes back to your why and your intent. It makes the difference.
I'm counting down the days, though, because it seems like since chicken, because I probably could be vegetarian if it wasn't for my love of the bird.
Oh my God.
And it seems like everywhere I go, I smell chicken. Fried, baked, broiled in a salad. I can't even get my favorite salad from Zaxby's because it's a chicken salad. It has chicken in it.
They can take the chicken out.
I don't want them to take the chicken out. That's like disrespectful to. But I'm definitely looking forward to so many things in 2019. One of the things is definitely the retreat.
Yes.
Doing more with the show. I know I had a number that I can't think of right now of how many lives and people that I wanted the show to touch, and I believe that we've surpassed that number when I look at the stat.
Awesome.
I'm excited for 2019, so I will say that much. So, Queens, if you guys would like to give one tip, maybe for someone working on reintroducing their self in 2019, what would it be, Queen Shannon?
One tip for someone reintroducing themselves in 2019, I would say follow your gut. Follow your gut. Most people don't believe in it, but to be honest, your gut is simply your intuition, and your intuition is simply God choosing to remain anonymous.
I like that.
So I would say follow your gut and go that thing that you're deathly afraid to do, that's stirring in your spirit and you can't let it go. Follow your gut and it'll lead you towards some great things. I promise that.
Yes.
Queen Lyvonne.
I want to say bring it. If you're doing a reintroduction, bring it. Don't half step with it. Come with the fullness, come with the realness, come with the authenticity. Just bring it. Show up and bring everything you got.
And the one thing I would say is keep that same energy.
Yes.
The same energy and determination you had January 1st to be a bigger, better you, to do this and do that. Keep that same energy all the way through December 31st. And who don't like your energy, get them out the way. Because
pretty much
life is too short. Y'all better Google, because people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s been dropping like flies for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
For real.
So you don't know how much time you have left. So don't lower your energy or let anybody bring any negative energy into you, because what we're not going to do is that part. As Queen Shannon say. I was waiting. It was taking a minute.
Thank you for listening. Connect with the show at the Define You Facebook. Until next time, remember your past doesn't define you. It gives you definition, and what you do with that is up to you.